I think we're live. I should have done it.
I guess we'll find out one or another. I'll
Yeah.
drop an N-bomb. If you get demonetized, then we know you're live.
Oh man, they're all over my channel because I put the I have learned to fight videos on my channel, and once a week I break down some street fight or something that happened. I talk about how they could have avoided the situation, what was done well in the situation, just highlighting different things, try to break down the fight in a context of like self-defense. And you don't need to be fighting people out in the streets. It's kind of dumb.
Hey, speaking of which, here's
I'm
something
always
interesting.
getting like demonetized and strikes and put behind the 18-year-old wall. It's yeah.
So here's something funny. Do you remember that video you put out about UFC has the same issue with fight cards that boxing has now, where it's like a bunch of undercards you don't want to see? I thought this one was kind of a neat little talk. I went to Reddit and I put it on the mixed martial arts subreddit, and they removed my thing for not being related to mixed martial arts. And I was like, what the fuck?
I got
UFC fighter.
kicked off of Reddit. I got kicked off for the Reddit thing because I was streaming my show. I was streaming my John Fish Knows Nothing show, and I got kicked off because it had nothing to do with MMA. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, which I mean, I could argue that sure he's playing a ukulele, whatever, but it's like you're an MMA fighter talking about MMA, and they're like,
and other things, talking about other things too, but like.
And and they sound like they're somewhat
MMA
smart
around what's going on, and it's just Reddit. And then that was around the time I started realizing that Reddit is just awful. It's an awful place. And then there was like a Brandon Schwab incident where people were like freaking out about him and spending days of their life making videos about why he wasn't funny.
Fair enough. Oh, I remember that because of his little drama there.
Change the channel. Like, I don't think Amy Schumer's funny either, but I don't sit there and watch all of her shit and then make videos about it.
Well, and in their defense, they did ban anything from the BJ Penn URL. So like you weren't allowed to post anything from there. So they aren't all bad.
Oh man. So yeah, I stay there. I call them Redditards.
Kind of makes me embarrassed that that's like, oh yeah, that's where I was from. And you're like, oh, never mind.
Well, everything's warped. Everything's warped from what it was in the 80s and 90s. It's a very feminized culture everywhere in the West. And that's kind of why we're having this talk today about manipulation and emotional manipulation. So I feel like it's a very feminine tactic. I think men and masculine traits are more violence or physical threat. Like,
oh yeah,
not that like you're out there punching everybody, but like there's the potential of violence. So there's a lot of things that are just done because of that.
Well, potential. It's a civility, because what is that saying you guys have in the States, that an armed society is a polite society?
Yes.
The idea that if you can get punched in the face for doing stupid shit, that you tend not to do stupid stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, I get that. Because I was actually curious. You were starting to tell me why this topic. And I thought you were talking about the Amber Heard thing, but apparently you had something much cooler than that.
No. So I stumbled upon my timeline. I had this, there's a video, this Peter Boghossian. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but he's like a professor, and he used to be, in the school systems. He's kind of like a Jordan Peterson or whatever, like got kind of like red pilled in that sense, where he's like, oh man, these people are crazy. Like, this is not right. This is not normal. They're getting away from science, all that type of stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So, I'm going to put the thing in the chat so people can like maybe look. But he was running a thought experiment game outside of some buildings on a campus, and talking to people walking by, and people saw what he was doing, and they didn't like it, so they started cussing at him from the buildings and flipping him off. And then they finally come and mob him, and they're standing around him. Everybody's really peaceful throughout the exchange. Nobody escalated it. But they were using very feminine verbiage with him, saying, how could you do this without taking in consideration the harm that you're doing? And he says, harm, like, what do you mean by harm? He keeps asking them, what do you mean by harm? They don't ever have an answer to it. They're just saying that saying things that make people feel bad is harm. You're causing harm, and like they were using that harm as some sustainable reason to like control him and tell him not to behave a certain way. You're hurting
Good
people,
old
so it
shaming
turns into like
tactics, eh?
a shame type tactic.
Yeah, it's like it shouldn't be surprising at this point. I mean, everybody, we've talked about this all the time. I don't know. It almost seems old school. Like we're talking about old school red pill shit. Like that was exactly what they did with Peterson when he started talking about the pronouns.
Yep.
And it's always this like, please think of the children. I remember then
Yeah.
when the evangelicals used to do that back in the video games cause school shooting age too, where it was think about the children and the harm you're like, and never think about Billy who you've caused harm to. It's always about this children in the abstract. And it just reminds me of when you see guys here and they're talking about chicks in the abstract with their stupid convoluted theories. It's like the feminine version of that. Think about this poor individual that doesn't exist, but you could totally harm them by doing this thing. And I can't quite tell you why, but you just need to feel it. And you're just like, holy jeez, maybe
Yeah.
girls can have autism. Maybe you might be onto something. And I thought they were just trying to fit in.
But yeah, it's I don't know, man. I feel like it's just a very, very, very privileged position to expect
Ooh.
other people to care about your feelings.
See, that's the thing too. I don't like adopting the language at all. Like the idea of even just saying privileged. I don't like that idea. It's like it's a pejorative for merit, you know? Like privileged. It's usually a meritus situation. If I can do something because I've earned it or, my
Yeah.
dad earned it and I'm like I get it. Trust fund babies are annoying as shit. So I'm not arguing that, but then to lump all of them together in privilege just basically takes people who have accomplished shit and earned certain things and people that have happened upon it, which is mostly women anyway. I mean, the richest woman on earth got it through a divorce. I'm not saying she's not good at whatever she does at Amazon. I'm just saying she's not Jeff Bezos. And so they lump
Yeah.
them together, and that was always my concern all this the whole time. Like, yeah, what's problematic about it? He's getting shamed from a bunch of these chicks. They're pulling fire alarms, all that kind of stuff. But it's almost like a loss if you start adopting the language and trying to use it against them, because then you're agreeing to the whole discussion on their terms. And it just to me, that's a frame loss.
It's a good
How I
point.
look at it.
It's a good point.
But that's the problem with a lot of these. Like Peterson had that problem, and I guess this guy's going to have that
Just
problem too.
we'll just call it
Find out.
evil. Let's call it
Yeah.
evil. I think it's evil for you to think that I should care about your problems.
I usually would say stunned and then throw a word after it, but I don't want to throw that out on your channel. I think I accidentally threw an S-bomb out once, but I'm trying not to swear. But it's just like stunned. The only person who could say that, like, what is wrong with you, woman? And they're acting like children. Nick, you saw it. They say it's feminine, but it's, I'd say feminine and childlike. Just yelling at people emotions. Like
Yeah,
your kid
that's
is
true.
young, but
there's yeah, that's feminine and like underdeveloped, like not even 13-year-old emotionally developed.
Actually, I was gonna say it was exactly
It's
13.
7.
That's the age when kids run away from home for 15 minutes.
Oh man.
Start yelling at dad. How sad is that? The entire society at university is perpetual 13-year-olds.
Pretty much
Yelling
that's
and
where we're at.
screaming. I'm not cleaning my room. F you, dad. Holy Jesus.
It's like the biggest I remember that reading that statistic a long time ago that like 13-year-old girls were like the biggest like spending, like most money was spent on them, like by a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, do you mean like marketing, spending money on appealing to them as
No,
market, or
like the
parents
things that
spending it
are bought and paid for them. Like,
on?
you know, like the music, the entertainment, the clothes, like all
Dude, that's
all the
insane.
spending, fathers and people buying stuff for them, like that was the main money suck. And because most of the money was going towards them and their desires and what they wanted, like that was shifting society.
Oh, so all the movies, music, everything is designed for a
It
13-year-old
starts
woman.
getting geared towards that age group. That it was around the time when like all the boy bands popped up.
Oh, that makes sense then. It also makes sense why everybody's all about, there's always like the paranoia on like conservative social media about everybody's a pedo and they're coming for your kids. It's like, I don't think child diddling is this large an issue, but whatever. But it makes sense then if all you see is
I don't
marketing
know. I think
towards
it kind of is.
13-year-olds.
Cain Velasquez is dealing with some shit right now because
Wait, who?
his Cain Velasquez, he's in jail right now because somebody diddled his kid and he went to shoot them.
Oh, fair enough.
So it's happening a lot. I think.
Well, here's the thing.
I think it's happening
I don't think
more
it's
than
a lot.
we're being told.
You know the guy's name, like everybody's name of somebody who's gotten vengeance on somebody touching their daughter. If it was happening a lot, you wouldn't even know the names. There'd be too many of them.
Hmm.
And I could be wrong. All I'm saying is from social media and TV in general, I always take the idea that if they can tell me the name of people doing stuff, it can't be that prevalent. Like, remember that drag queen story hour they show with the
Mhm.
drag queen reading kids' books or whatever, and everybody's been showing that same picture from like 10 years ago? It's like if there was a second picture, they'd have shown it. And so I'm always, again, this is just me. I'm skeptical for everything. But then again, you also live in California, which is apparently like diddling Mecca.
No, like every Wednesday night was. I think it still is. It's
Is what
drag
diddling
drag
night? What
queen
the
bing.
hell?
I think it's drag queen bingo. I think every night at some bar.
Oh yeah, at a bar though for adults, like whatever.
Well, it's like an outside bar next to the theater, so
Oh
any kids walking by are still seeing it.
God, imagine one of these days they're gonna start listening to like watching Queen music videos, David Bowie stuff. They're gonna ruin the youth. What was that? You remember that Bill Burr line where he's like, "This isn't music. Back in my day, you dressed like a woman and sang about the devil." I guess but the whole thing, I don't know. I mean, I do know, and the problem is, it's like it's been about a decade, I'd think, at least since we started seeing. Do you remember what was his name? Tim Hunt. He was that first professor that kind of got me too because he said scientists, girls just fall in love with the professor and cry, and then they fired his ass. Or the guy with the hentai T-shirt that put a rocket onto a comet, and they're like, fire him. He has a bad anime T-shirt. And after about a decade of seeing it, you think guys would start to pay attention and learn some like basic defenses against it. Like Vox Day's Social Justice Warriors Always Lie came out almost a decade ago now. And it essentially lays out what do you do during these attacks. Have you ever read it?
Yeah, I think so. Back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. Just like simple things. Like, one, don't apologize, because if they make it think like, oh, if I apologize, they'll accept my apology, everything's going to be good. They just turn the apology around and turn it into like, see, he admits it. He admits it was wrong. And then they just go after blood. So it's like, why would you even bother on that? They're just
Yeah.
appealing to your sense of empathy and then weaponizing it against you. And then don't be afraid. Like, you're going to realize you're going to have two types of people. There's friends that will help you. There's people that try to stay out of it, and then there's people that hurt you. And the people that just try to stay out of it and they're still your friends are probably the most dangerous ones for you,
Mm-hmm.
because they'll try to play like, let's just meet in the middle. You're only half of a pedo. And you're like, oh, for fuck's sakes, dude.
Mm.
You're allowed to call like white and black. You don't have to say, well, what about gray? Because now you're just making me into half an asshole. So then you realize, those people are probably going to do you more harm than good. And it's best, even if they're acting nice, not to engage with them. And everybody kind of knows that, because that's why these attacks are so effective, because they weaponize people's risk aversion. They weaponize people's empathy. They weaponize people with good nature. And it essentially self-selects. The only people who survive out of this are sociopaths who truly are evil people. And then we're wondering why, a drama teacher right now is sending in the army to kill a bunch of truckers. Like, oh, whatever. Boy, I went on a digression, didn't I?
That was a quick turn.
Yeah.
Oh. Man. And then, getting into the relationship stuff. That's the tactic that seems to be used often is the the crying girlfriend.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, I sent
whatever
you
you're
one.
doing makes me sad, and you have to stop what you're doing.
Dude, and that's red pilled as fuck too. Where can I post chat? Oh, I can't chat in this thing, can I? All right, fuck.
Or you got to go to your YouTube, and you can chat on the YouTube.
Fair enough. All right. Well, anyways, yeah, it was like an old Archwinger post that came out, I want to say 2014. So it's like 8 years ago now. He had the same issue. Like, what do you do when your girl cries? And he was talking about how he was starting on his thing, starting going to the gym, and his workout times was like 5 a.m. And he'd go and he'd go and he'd go, and she thought he'd be cheating on him. And she starts to cry. Why don't you just stay home? And then he felt bad, so he stayed home. And then as soon as he stopped doing what he was doing to make himself better, and her cries actually worked, she actually got really, he was like, why did she just get ultimately like bitchy now? I did exactly what she wanted. She cried until she got her way. And then now that she's got her way, she's not happy about it. And that's when he realizes, like, they don't want to shame. They just can't help it. Like, the crying shit is just, it's part of their nature. It's almost like a test. And then when the things go well, they lose all those good feelings they had. And so I just lump it in with like she fights you because she wants to lose.
Yeah.
But it sucks for you because, if it's a girl you like obviously you like your girl. I like my girl.
Yeah.
If they're crying,
It's
they
like, why
feel
are you
bad.
doing
It's like,
this? Why are you doing this?
yeah, I can
Where did this
fix
come
this.
from? Everything was awesome 10 minutes ago. Now you're picking a fight. Stop it.
Yeah. And the only answer we've come up with is just a little bit callous. Like, you got to hate her a little bit. He cries. You got to realize, like, A, she's crying because she wants you to do something you don't want to do. And B, it's not her fault because this is like, it's like her nature. And so you just kind of laugh it off. Now I'm at the point.
She wants reassurance. She wants to know that you really love her. She wants to know that you really care, that you actually matter in her life. So she's trying to poke at you to make you show her.
Yeah, and this is why girls have no game, because she thinks that's a good thing. This will make him realize he loves me. It's like, no, he's only building resentment. But then he realizes because girls just suck at game. And so you just kind of laugh, like, whatever. And then I would argue that's kind of where you do the thing where you reward good behavior and not bad behavior. So not rewarding crying is easy. Just don't pay attention when she's crying.
Yeah,
or make fun of her.
If crying or like a wall of text, it's just I have other stuff to do today.
I never, ever, I make it a policy never to read a wall of text on anything. Yeah, emails. Does your girl email you occasionally when she's in a bad mood?
No, those are. I have not got the emails.
Dude, no. Just leave it on red. I'm telling you. There's a couple guys in my community did that. They were like, then she sent me this, and they dictated all of the stuff. I'm like, look, man, I didn't read past the first line, and I hope you didn't either. I tell him exactly what to do. The guy tries, like, it worked. How'd you know that when you didn't even read it? I'm like, look, if it's important, it's face-to-face important. I'm not gonna fix her feelings by text.
Yeah, I don't want to text. I don't want to talk on the phone even.
Yeah. Well, what if she asks? We'll say, why didn't you just fucking call me? Why didn't you just walk into the next room? Why'd you have to text me from the bedroom while you're watching TikTok? You fucking psycho.
Yeah,
but I guess, it's like, instead of being all angry and irritated and offended, it's just kind of laughing. It's like a 4-year-old. It's like your kid calling you a poopy head. Are you going to put her in an omoplata after that?
I put your she cries.
There
the
it is.
Girl crying thing you sent. Put that.
Yeah, are you gonna put a rear naked choke on your kid for calling you a poopy head or drop kick him through the wall? It's like, no, you're just gonna laugh, give him a noogie, and tell him to get out of here. Yeah. Imagine treating your woman the same way. She calls you a poopy head and starts crying. You just give her a noogie or a rear naked, whatever.
Yep, give her a wedgie. That's your actionable advice. Next time she starts crying about some shit, give her a wedgie.
You joke, but I mean, I think it could work. I've done spankings before. Just bend a girl over your knee. Get out of here, you're making me.
Maybe a swirly, stick your head in the toilet.
Okay, I wouldn't do that, but that's against
too far.
I know where that toilet's been. But why wouldn't you? Like, why would you take girls seriously? You took girls seriously once, it cost you a divorce. Never again. Never again.
Yeah, it cost me like half of my worth, half of my wealth, half of everything I worked for since I was 9 years old.
Yeah, and hearing the stories too, she always had an
my frame
on
is
what
not
you need to
is
do.
not. I have no room to compromise my frame at all. I just don't. Like, I have kids. I kind of, after the divorce, you kind of have to start over. Financially and everything. Luckily, I had, our house was up enough. I made some money when we sold the house when we got divorced, and that's fine. But I basically have to start over. I'm starting a new career in a new business. I've got to start over again financially. I have a house. Luckily, I have that stepping stone. But yeah, it's crazy.
I've done it like 4 times. I'm actually getting to the point where I get excited. Like, I was, if I'd have stuck with what I did out of high school, like when I was 9 years old, I'd still be a graphic designer right now. That's how many careers ago that is. And it's a skill set, because like, you're good now. You can start and finish an MMA career. So you're at the point where if you want to start a career in whatever, Bruce Springsteen lookalike contests, whatever you want to do, you can do it now because you have the skills to build up something new. And then, after you're finished this, maybe you want to switch over to being musician, play guitar, who knows? And that'll be a whole other career, and you'll be so good at starting careers. It's just one more thing for you. It's a great skill set. And your girl, here's the one I got to ask. I remember you telling me stories during when you were together, And she always had input on what you should do for your career and where you should live and shit like that, right?
And my friends who had like businesses too. That
Yeah.
was a big one.
Never once did I hear you tell her a story of how she held up the pads for you while you practice some kicks. And it just seems like, why would you take somebody seriously? Like, they didn't help any of the building up, but they got tons of ideas of what you can do when you're there. It's like, I got it. Thank you. Thank you for your input, sir.
Oh, even now,
from
she's
here.
like, why don't you do this for money? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? She's listing off these things, like telling me what I should be doing. And I'm just
I don't know. Why don't we stay married for money? That would have doubled my net worth right here. Cynthia.
Well, there's a whole different mindset with some of these people where like it's not worth being miserable to make money. It's not. Like there's no amount of money that you could pay me where I'm going to go in and I'm going to hate what I'm doing for the money. Where
I
I'm
totally agree.
okay, you have to commute for 3 hours and do this awful job around these awful people, drive back 3 hours. You know, like $1 million a month isn't going to be enough because I'm not going to have any time to enjoy that.
And you're going to be spending the money on shit just to help you cope. That's the worst.
Yeah,
you're not even making the money. You're
thanks.
spending it on surviving.
No, it's like I'd rather I'd rather be on a plot of land and like have chickens and whatever and survive off of that and then do some other kind of work for fun than be a slave to a bunch of people that I can't stand.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking some personal stories. Never mind. Keep going. I don't want to get that personal in this one. But I was like that. Every time you got a story about something that's bothered you and something, I can usually think back to something in my life that, oh yeah, he's actually onto something. That makes perfect sense.
Well, that's, I mean, yeah, human nature, man. We're more alike than we're different. You know, even though there's huge miles of space in between.
There's different flavors of ice cream, but we're all ice cream.
You know, we all have a head for the most part. One head, 2 arms, 2 legs.
Well, I have 2 heads. I don't know what you're talking about.
You know,
big head, little head. Plus the lawyer's fees, taxes, transaction costs, and energy of setting up a new life just for petty spite. See, that's like he's not wrong. I don't like how this guy ERP Sensei frames it. Like, if that's the framing that you come into that situation, of course it's going to sound miserable. And I know this is one of those weird platitudes, like it's 90% what you think about it and 10% what happens, but it kind of is. Like, think about that soul-sucking shrew of an ex-wife, and you're finally rid of her. And all it cost you is a little bit of lawyer's fees, some taxes and transaction costs, and a little bit of energy of setting up a new life. Is that not worth it? Like, how much is your happiness worth?
Yeah. I mean, just yeah, stress and yeah. Then just the frustration, the daily frustration. I got made fun of how I say frustration.
Whatever. Plus, she costs money just to live with a girl. And I don't care. Whoever says this cheaper to keep her is a lying asshole. Every divorce guy that I've talked with in my community,
bullshit, dude.
They always say their disposable income goes up.
The first year after, you know, I did the taxes again because that was one of the things. Was like she muscled in on the finances and then complained about it all the time. I give her what they want, and yeah. So I did my own taxes, crunched my own numbers, had everything myself. Like, I got, for the last few years since being divorced, I've gotten returns. I've never gotten a return before. And I had to pay out my ass. I've had to pay out my ass to these things. And I'm just like, the cost of her, like doing her hair or nails, like her going out and eating out at restaurants. Oh, there's a new cafe. We have to go and check it out. Like driving the gas money alone, driving around town just to like see the new thing. Like unbelievable amounts of money just wasted. Wasted for what? It's so silly.
Flippant experiences that you don't remember a week later. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that's the funny thing. But you see what I mean? You guys are both describing the exact and the money same situation.
Spent, like we could have bought land somewhere, you know, like we could have had a large amount of money. Like that was the big thing that like kind of opened my eyes to some shit. Was we were struggling with some money because I had some injuries and I'd lost a fight and we just bought a second house. So like money was really tight and I was going to sell my truck and I didn't want to sell my truck. I love my truck. It's like my favorite thing. I've wanted this type of truck. I wanted it to look like this since I was a little kid. Right.
Nice.
So
As long as it's not one of those
it's like one of my
Tonka
bucket list.
editions.
It was one of my bucket list things, right? My truck was on my bucket list, so I have that. Like, so it was like heartbreaking for me to like shop it around, and it was like, you know, half the money that I put into it, and I got it for, and you know, I came home one day, finally found a buyer, and it was way lower than what I'd wanted, but it was still going to be like $20,000. And I was like, well, man, we need the money. And I pull in, and I was about ready to make the decision to do it. And then I see she's got her hair blown out, her nails all done. Like, she spent like $500 that day on
What?
bullshit. Like, she had her iced coffee, like bags of clothes from stuff she'd bought, hair, nails, everything. I'm just like, what the hell is happening? Like, you're not conserving or like
You're not
cared
taking
at
this
all.
seriously.
Like I have to fight people for this money, and you're just hey, all willy nilly, whatever with it. I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
Rolling in like a rock star.
I was
Dude,
like,
in
I
the
am
Navy,
not selling my truck. Forget it.
if
I don't
we
care.
if we ever showed up to work with like the coffee in our hand, especially if we were almost late on like a special event or a sailing or something like that, you would get yelled at for trying to walk in like you're a fucking rock star. The balls on that lady. Well, this doesn't count. Did you sell that fucking truck yet? Hand me this frappuccino.
Oh, God.
Why wouldn't you leave that? Oh my god. I wonder, is that a California thing though? Is that like no, we see it here in Canada. Everybody
It's a
keeps trying to tell me it's
conformist because everybody in this area is like that, and then she's Asian too, so that Asian community is like that.
interesting. So it's pretty much world around. Doesn't matter. You could be Asian, Californian, Canadian.
Like I'm like she look at me, and her friends would look at me like I'm a weirdo because I didn't want to go do those things, and I thought they were stupid. What's wrong with him?
Why doesn't
He doesn't
want
want to.
to?
He doesn't want to wait in line for an hour for a croissant.
Oh god, that shit. Yeah, that waiting in the Apple store for the newest iPhone crap. I've never got it. The vacation when some place is off season, like going. If you do you do vacations much, or is it not your thing?
Not recently, but I mean, I've traveled a shitload.
Okay. Have you ever seen the
Vacations
difference
are for
traveling a
work.
place between the off season and the on season,
Mhm.
like Cancun or whatever? And dude, if you have not gone to a place when it's off season, I strongly suggest you go. It's a night and day different experience. Like the fat land whales that are just killing your vibe are gone.
Yeah.
The staff is usually more pleasant because they're not overworked and not being yelled at by some fat dude from New York City all day. Everything is like easy to get to. There's no traffic. The locals are actually around, so you can see people. The whole experience is better, and it's like a way to live. Just do what everybody else isn't doing, or do it when they're not doing it. It's just wonderful.
Well, man, so I like doing things like that, but like when I was with her, the ex, it was they would always do the resort thing. They'd
Mhm.
want to do the resort inclusive thing, and I'm like, you can do that anywhere. It's the same experience at the Marriott in town that it is. You go to Jamaica. I'm gonna fly to Jamaica to be in one building the whole time.
Oh yeah, like
I
walled
didn't
compounds.
understand it. Like I wanted to stay. You know, we went to Vietnam, and like the parents would always try to stay at the very nicest place we could, and I was like, you know, they had put them to bed, and I'd get a scooter driver to take me to the slums, and I'd hang out with the people and drink beer and eat the food. Like,
Oh, dude, living off the economy and street meat. I'm
you know,
100% with you.
sitting on those little chairs, drinking a tiger beer or whatever.
Oh, what was it? Tiger for China. Height was the Korean. Japan had its what was the one we drank? I can never remember.
I can't remember. There's another one in Vietnam. Bia.
But yeah, I always like those. And you can always get them in like those giant like malt liquor sized bottles, and you can just drink on the street and nobody cared. But you see what I mean? Like that's a fun experience, I would find. It's not even about the cost of it, but it's just more, and I hate saying authentic, but it kind of is. It's not a manufactured experience. The pool doesn't hurt your eyes from the chlorine. You're just swimming in a lake. Like fuck, whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like you're a child at Disneyland. Feels like you're an adult who's just in
Where people are
Vietnam and
holding your hands through everything. Oh no, you have to
exactly.
do this thing. The way, yeah, I'm just, I don't know. I just
And
want
the
to be
only
left
other people
alone.
you run into are people who are also on vacation, and so they're insufferable because they're here because their lives are boring. And you're like, Hey, what do you do? Well, I'm in insurance. They're like, oh, I'd love to hear 8 hours of this. Thank you, sir.
Or the worst is when you get next to a like a couple that's like just doesn't get along the whole time. That's just like
In fairness,
she's always pissed. Everything's wrong. He's like drunk or an idiot or like screwing shit up all the time.
in fairness, I make so much fun in those situations at their expense that I almost want to say it's worth it. But it's basically I need an audience of people there to watch me shit on this horrible couple. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. The things you got to do to keep yourself entertained, right?
One of the other things.
Oh yeah.
One of the other things that I've had used against me is like the shaming type stuff, and I've not tolerated it. Being kind of like backhanded shaming type things, like, oh, people who get girls from Instagram or just fucking bottom barrel girls, or trying to like just it's a bad thing to like hook up. It's a bad thing to be able to have the skills it takes to get girls and have sex. The shaming around all of that, like dating around and spinning plates, like that's a just any kind of comment that paints that in a negative light.
Yeah.
And the idea that you get with a girl and she's saving you from that degenerate lifestyle, that I have a problem with it, because I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's good. Do what you want. That's fine. If you have the skills to get girls, do it. And if you find somebody that you're choosing to go and be with instead of that, even better. But I think that it's just that turning a virtue into or turning a what do you call it?
A necessity into a
necessity into a virtue, because the guys can't get any girls. So when they do get a girl, they're like, oh yeah, she saved me from the degeneracy. But
well, that's why, like, because you said be your own judge, right? Earlier on the show, if I'm not mistaken. That's 100% what it is. Because what is it? Somebody's offloading their insecurities on you as if it's a moral imperative. How dare you have meaningless sex with women, or how dare you go do your own thing, or off of this? You need to do what I do because that's the right thing to do. And it always boils down to, like, do you think that the moral imperative that whatever girl is ragging on you is giving you is the valid one? It's not. Of course, and you know that now, but when we're kids or when we're stupid, we don't know. And a lot of simps, they don't know. They think, oh, if the girl doesn't like me, then my life's fucking over. They may not word it that way, but that's how they think of it. So when a girl does some shaming shit, it appeals to your sense of shame and guilt. And then, oh, I want to earn my way back into your good graces, you divine creature. Meanwhile, you got Rollo Tomasi coming down like Moses off the mountain with the tablets. Sees a bunch of idiots here worshiping the golden calf with a nice set of tits, smashes the fucking things, and here we are. Yeah, you have to be your own judge. And this shame only works if you treat somebody's moral imperative as valid. I'd argue it's not. How can it be? Your wife's moral imperative basically was running you guys bankrupt. So, like, who the fuck is she to dictate terms?
You'll just have to make more money.
Yeah.
Well, that is just forever burned into my conscious, her saying that. I had a serious conversation. Girls love it when you open up, and they love it when you open up and express your true deep down feelings, your real fears and things that you have anxiety about. They just love to hear it.
And so you called her
I had a conversation with her. I sat down to have this conversation with her, and I was like, talking about the expenses and how much we're struggling and how much pressure was putting on me and how much it was making my life and my job really hard to do. And she looks at me and goes, well, you'll just have to make more money.
Dude, imagine your weight training Bible or your weight cutting Bible. Imagine you in there saying, eat whatever you want. You're just going to have to burn off more calories. How far would that book have made it? I mean, just run a little more.
It was, yeah. It's funny though, because I got to turn that around on her once.
Oh, you got the revenge. Teach that bitch a lesson.
What'd you do? Well, solipsism. She, blew it off, of course. But it was another time where kids were going to a school, and she's like, "Well, I can't afford to keep sending them to this school." And I said, well, I guess you're just going to have to make more money.
You petty fuck.
It went clear over her head.
Yeah. This was like well after you guys were separated, I take it, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. It
was when I was
funny.
in the apartment. It was when I was in the apartment. We hadn't, I don't know if we started the divorce process yet, but yeah, we were separated.
I laugh and it's funny. Generally speaking, though, it's kind of a counterproductive thing because then you make it a little more adversarial than it has to be. And then because guys treat their girl as their arch nemesis, and it's like if you hate her that much that she becomes your Dr. Claude.
I said it with
why are you there?
a bit of amused mastery.
Oh yeah,
in a joking sense,
She was out the door anyway at this point. Fuck it, but
yeah,
I was just laughing.
Hit you on the way out.
Yeah, but a lot of guys, they treat it like as long as they win those little battles, they think the relationship is fine. It's like, and that's the part that's kind of weird too, where they start to get hooked on it. It's not just a quip now and again. It's no, I got to teach that bitch a lesson. That's where that whole hold accountable shit's coming from, that Fresh and Fit are yelling at chicks about. Every guy thinks that, oh yeah, if we can just be better bitches than those boss bitches, we can teach those bitches a lesson in respect. And you're just like that professor at the beginning. He's using problematic language the same as they are, and you're just losing the fight by adopting their frame anyway.
Yeah.
Where was I going with this one? I think I just wanted to throw in a quick F and F slam. It's been an hour. Just kind of make more money. Does she had a job at least, right? Like she wasn't a stay-at-home mom with all this shit.
No, stay-at-home mom.
Son of a bitch.
She was just a stay-at-home and a mother. Oh. Like
it just happened.
Like I usually took the kids to the gym with me when I went to practice and train.
Oh, so literally all she did all day
she was
just
nothing. Stay home.
Got an ornery teenager in the house. I guess that's true then. The most responsible teenager in the house just sleeps all day, does her nails, bitches to dad how she can do what she wants. Fuck, fair enough. It must be nice to live like a Disney princess. Although we'll see. I mean, I guess the divorce, you guys still have to get along, obviously, because they're taking care of the kids together and still the kid's mom. But
yeah,
I guess
I'm much more civil.
You don't have to put up with her shit when you don't want to.
Yeah, I'm much more civil and nice to her and her family and stuff now. So
that's the cold shit, though, man. I love that, where it's like, because you're probably like, that's for guys. Treat him as polite as you treat a stranger.
I told her straight up. I was like, there's no friendship. There's no whatever. It was like, you're out. Like, you're out of my life. Like, our contact is bare minimum for the child's needs. I'm not your friend. I'm not going to do things for you. I'm not going to hang out with your family. I'm not going to have your I'm not going to use your family to babysit or anything. Like, you're done. You're out. I don't need to talk to you.
That's why I'm saying it's cold. Like, literally as polite as you would be to somebody you've never met before.
Yeah.
Like a stranger.
Yep.
That's some cold shit. Like if you're angry and bitter and shit, that means you still care.
Do the big smile and shake your hands. Yep. Nice to see you. Yep. And then go and do my own thing or go sit somewhere else.
How's the weather over there in Whore Island? Been a bit of rain. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm sure she's a wonderful person. I don't really know her from a hole in the ground.
But yeah, I mean, I don't even blame her. She's not a bad person. It's just
but you're right though. Like all these examples,
you know, the atmosphere, the surroundings, like everybody involved, you know.
Yeah.
It's all. Oh
yeah,
everybody's suffering from it. That's why, you know, it's lucky that these guys watching us now are here, because like I didn't have this before, and I wouldn't have known how to deal with these type of situations with my girl now. I've been with her over a year. Like things are going really well, you know. But she has these little "I need you to show that you love me" moments.
Yeah, those are easy enough though. Like I get those occasionally too. It's just like, well, what do you want? And then they don't know how to articulate what they want. But then you realize
I'm a dick though. It so irritates me because I feel it and I see it coming. I know what it is. I'm like, motherfucker, I got to do this shit again. Like that's what's going through my head. It's like I don't need this. Like I'm 44 years old, man. Like I'm okay. I'm okay alone. I'm okay alone. Like I don't, you know, like it's not like I'm gonna be like I'll load the dating apps again and I'll be able to date quickly. You know, it'll suck, but I also know like I've lost a multitude of relationships already in my life.
Yeah,
you know, I've had what, like 6 or 7 love experiences since high school.
Aw.
So I know how to do it. There's no
But that's why
fear of
this is
like
working though.
I'm gonna be alone, you know.
Yeah, that year with this girl, the whole reason, like, you got your, I don't want to say it this way, but it's the only way I know how to word it. Like, you've got one foot out the door. You don't need her. You're there because you want to be, not because you have to be or you think you're entitled to be. And that
Yeah. I
keeps
mean, yeah,
like
I'm
this
with her because I
baseline
want
level
to
of
be.
dread
I
where she
want to be
acts
with
right.
her, and she makes me happy, and we do cool shit.
And she'll drop a hint like, I want you to feel more shit, but then you don't do what you did with the other one. And so she doesn't adopt those same behaviors. So it's funny enough though, just by being top tier like you are, keep the girl acting right because she wants to be with you. And if she does, those are the terms. Don't be like my bitch ex-wife. It's like the lowest bar ever. And all you have to do is not stumble onto it, you know?
Yeah.
She's been doing it for a year now. Good for her. Here's rooting for her. Maybe see if we can go for 2. You can buy her a bag of Skittles for her birthday. Here. You survived a year and a half. Congrats.
Well, I cooked her a steak for her last birthday.
So how'd
So
you do darn? Also for like steak and a blowjob day, and you provided the steak, and you do the math.
oh man. That's every day. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, look at this, Dove. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. Kind of ex-wifer. It's not even a damning thing. Like, actually, this is the point. Like, it doesn't matter if I do it this way, it's wrong, and if I do it this way, it's wrong. So, like, that's the freeing thing, man. If nothing you ever do is right, then just do what you want to do anyway. What's that?
Yeah.
You know, I think you've even tweeted that Chinese saying where some warlord was late for a battle or so, it wasn't able to make it to there in time. He goes, what's the penalty for being late? And they're like, death. Well, what's the penalty for rebellion? They're like, death. And he's like, oh, rebellion it is then. And then it was like the creation of the Han Dynasty or some shit like that. I'm butchering it, but that's great. I think it's an awesome thing. My girl hates a lot of things I do, but I mean, if I did other stuff, she'll just hate that. So I'm just going to do what I want. And she'll get over it because, you know, I'm pretty special and she's pretty special. So it works out.
I think having that knowledge, you know, you've said, I got it from you, that the relationship is up to the girl.
Wholeheartedly.
That's always yeah, that's stuck with me. And a lot of like decisions are like, how do I deal with this? How do I treat this? I'm like, okay, it's like, it's really up to her if she wants to be with me. It's her decision. So I should make sure that I choose to do what I want to do because she's going to make that decision anyways.
Yeah. It's out of your control. And that's great. One less thing for you to worry about. All you got to worry about now
she's either gonna like me and get over it, or she's not.
And I refuse to believe she wouldn't. You see, dude, how many stories have you seen where chicks are dating dudes who like beat them up? Like Ike and Tina Turner stuff, and their whole families and friends are like, you got to leave him. And she's like, I should leave, but he's just so good to me. And they stick around through that. And then you mean to tell me a girl won't stick with John because he wants to take his truck for a drive one day? Like, fuck out of here. Girls will put up with all kinds of nonsense if it's a good man. And that's the beauty of it, is you're not doing any of that horrible stuff because that's not your deal. So like, she's got a really easy end. Like, would you rather be dating a drug dealer? Trust me, you don't. You're welcome. What do I bring to the table? I don't know. I'm not Ike Turner. Just start with that. Walk in with your iced coffee, fresh done nails, and your hair coiffed. Oh, that's right. You can now. Can't wait, because you've been growing yours 3 or 4 months longer than me. So I'm looking forward to when I have to start wearing a bandana and shit. Oh, the beard. I couldn't do both.
It's long enough I can part it and do the bandana.
Oh, I can't wait. In another 6 months, you're gonna have your full Willie Nelson, the double like
I'm gonna have a ponytail. I'm gonna have a ponytail.
That's gonna be
awesome. The boys classmates say I look like Thor.
I can kind of see it. Midwestern Thor. Works out well too, because you got kind of like a slow drawl to your voice, so it kind of gives that. This guy is either going to teach me how to hunt deer, or he's going to leave me in his freezer for his family to eat. I'm not sure which yet.
Feed you to my dogs.
Yeah, well, girls like serial killers, and you're pulling it off look really well, so why not? Willie Fitch, I like that. I'm not gonna lie, dude. Your
Really
restream,
melted.
it's taken some getting used to. Like where the text all comes in from the top. Oh yeah, I was gonna pull up the video so I could actually comment with the guys in there because your audience, not gonna lie, they're saying some bomb ass shit. There it is. And I like want to like quip with them, but then I forget. Oh right, I can't talk on your goddamn channel on the damn restream.
Yeah, gotta be on the.
There we go. I'm in. I'm in. Okay.
Which is it? The Peter whatever video?
Wait, what Peter video? What are we talking about?
Oh, what are you doing?
I'm just trying to get into chat to talk to the guys.
Oh, okay.
There I am. Made it. You can do anything to a woman except for bore them. I think I heard that from Rich Cooper. Either him or me. Or maybe even you. I think we've all said that at one point.
That might have been, yeah, that might have been in the game.
Actually, that makes sense.
That book or something. Yeah, I think I read that in there around that time. But that's something I learned very early on. It's like you can do anything with a woman but bore her. And I was like, oh fuck, man. That's a good point on dating strategy that made you know, like jumping locations, moving locations, always having like backup locations in case things slow down in excitement. Like that was always something I started, you know, putting in the date plan.
Oh, for sure. It's more than that even. Like you could just make more money. Well, that would be boring. You just working harder, making more money is more absent and more boring. And that's all guys are doing is funding their own divorce. So even there, just how about we just go without and I take your iced cappuccino and I throw it in the garbage and you get the ass to work. And they'll get mad at you.
Or I didn't even need that. I just needed somebody to take care of the kids so I could focus on work.
Oh, yeah. How weird is that? Hey, these kids you just made. Why don't you watch them for a bit? Give them at least give them a tablet and sit in front of them.
No. That was the problem. It's like they were sitting in front of a TV.
Kids.
They were in front. Yeah, I didn't want them to be screened. You know, the 2 hours that I went to go work out, I didn't want them to be sitting in front of a TV. So I took them with me in the mornings. Actually, I mean, it was more than 2 hours because I'd go and lift, and then I'd go and teach a class, and then I had my training at noon. So it was like, you know, 10 to 2, I was busy, but I took the kids with me because if I didn't, they would just sit at home and watch TV.
Which is weird. Although I guess you lived in like I'm not sure how California works. Were you like in a
Well, yeah, this was
a yard
I was in Vegas for 2 years.
Okay, so that all you can do is send them out to the desert then. So you can't just have them go run off and do their own thing.
Well, they were like 2 and 4. They were little.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Like I was still one of them was still in diapers. One of them was still in diapers. Like I was training for a world championship, and like I'd have to stop in between rounds and like go and change a diaper and then jump back in.
Oh, dude, that's fucked up. Having said that, imagine that you clock a guy upside the head and then he's got that like diaper smell. That's got to fuck with your game at a certain point. That probably helped you out, I'm guessing. The fuck is that smell? And he thinks he got so scared of John Fitch, he shit himself. So he's like, and then that small pause is where you can get in there with a quick neck jab. We should start a course on that. Trick with your gloves, with your sparring gloves. You take your pancreation gloves, you just wipe a little bit of baby diaper on them, then you go in there. Plus, it helps the sliding motion better, so your hooks can just click the jaw. Just perfect. I'm just running my mouth at this point. I don't fucking know. Oh shit.
Speaking of courses, I have I'm working on 3 different courses right now.
Oh, one of the guys in the chat was asking that too. How's your seminars going? Yeah, Todd.
Todd Kunkey. Yeah, and Todd, if you're listening, I actually am planning on being back in Fort Wayne this summer. I think last week of June, first week of July is what I'm looking at. And I think 1st and 2nd, I'm going to be doing a seminar in Lafayette. My buddy Mo's, Coach Mo, his place. But yeah, I'll be looking to fill up some more spots during that trip because I want to pay for the gas money.
Fair enough. How do those things work then? I've never had like an MMA seminar. Like I do a
lot of different types of seminars. So I do self-defense, and then Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then there's wrestling. I do wrestling seminars, MMA seminars. So there's a lot of different things I can do. No gi and gi. People will specify on that too. And depending on the length of it, like the guys will ask. We'll work on a specific set of things. Like I do a lot of jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu for wrestling for jiu-jitsu, because a lot of those guys don't have any wrestling experience. So I'll come in and I'll just teach wrestling type stuff to those guys to get their wrestling cleaned up.
So is it like people will go to you and you rent a gym out and then you do the workshop there, or do like martial art clubs?
There's a couple different ways we do it. There's the clubs or the gyms will reach out to me directly and book the seminar, and they have a set price that they'll pay me straight up. And then they usually will do most of the promotion from that, and it's usually something they do for their in-house people, right? And then the other way is like I'll find a gym that will let me use their facility, and I'll advertise, and I'll have to be the one who markets and gets people there, and then they'll pay per person for the 2 hours or the 3 hours, depending on what the length is.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
Then I just teach fun stuff.
So like, is there a preference? Do you prefer one or the other, or they're both good? It's just whichever one's like, you book your time and then whatever one fits there, what's there. Like,
no, I like teaching. I like teaching, as long as I have a good group that's attentive and working hard. That's fun, interactive. Like, it's just fun to teach. When people get the little aha moments, when it's something that they didn't understand clicks for the first time, it's a cool feeling. That's one of my favorite things about being like a dad, is like I get to always create these aha moments. Like when a kid gets that, first experience of something, it's like, what? Like that face they make, it's awesome.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, my time teaching at Fleet School is probably my most rewarding time in my military career. Same thing. It's just seeing you actually help somebody achieve something.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to get that back, but I mean, this internet shit, you're never going to get it here. The nerds here. No, I'm just joking. There's good people. Although I got to admit, I would say you probably, next to mine, have the most adult-like audience. Does that make sense? There's no autism in here. Everybody is a normal person. Like, I could see myself getting a beer with everybody in your chat. And it's so rare in the red pill to see this.
I haven't, well, it's because I don't do any of the marketing tricks. I don't do the marketing trick stuff that people do. 5 things you need to know about your testosterone. You're like 11 secrets about your sunning your balls. Like, I don't do any of that. So I don't get any of those autistic retards on my channel.
Yeah, I was saying this the last time, how it's like, there's that thing that 30% of men are basically incels now, that stat everybody throws around.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that there's this huge gold rush for content creators to try and gather as many of them as possible, because they're online all day, because they're not having sex with women. And that's why everybody's doing the red meat shit now.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, me making fun of the red meat shit is like my red meat. So I'm not above it. You'd be surprised how many, if you just find a video of somebody calling you an asshole and then you make an advertisement out of it, people love it. I've got like a dozen of them. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but whatever. Surely you must have some of those. Oh yeah, dude. I should almost do one of those.
I have a good group of people that I have as what do you call them on your thing, on your chat? The moderators.
Oh, yeah, like the moderators. Yeah,
because I did the John Fitch. I didn't. Sorry, it was Shake Break. I did Shake Break for like over a year, and it was every day during the weekdays for like an hour. The time of day that I would have my protein shake, and so I had a bunch of guys who were just like there every day for over a year. So like, got to know them well and made them moderators, and then they keep a lot of the nonsense off. Like,
oh, dude, yeah, there's a term for it. They call them flavor posters. This is back when Reddit was good. There was this guy who ran this thing called Tumblr in Action. Remember Tumblr, right? Like, all the feminists and shit were doing their own things, kind of like what we see now. And it was just like a lighthearted place to make fun of it. But he noticed that what make or break a community, which like your chat's a community, is the flavor posters. The 20% of guys who do like 80% of the work. And for new guys coming in, those guys are the ones that set the tone, so they know what good and behaviors are and what normal behavior is. And you can see it. The fact that you've built a good set of flavor posters means they essentially get to drive the content, and the fact that they're adults and they get shit done and they know what they're doing. It's going to make it such an easier time of it than some of the nonsense you see out there. But that's the thing, like you just kind of intuitively figured this stuff out. So it's good to see that it's replicated elsewhere. And I guess it never hurts to fluff the audience. You guys are pretty switched on, I'll give you that. Except for Billy Buster. He's a bit of a dick. But I think he's one of mine, not one of yours. Sorry, John, I'm bringing in the riffraff.
They're licking their chops. Oh, really? He doesn't have any trolls?
Yeah. Well, that's the other
Something
thing
else
about
to
trolls
do.
too, right? Like you don't seem
Something
to get
else to
rattled
do
pretty
instead of
easily.
talking to girls.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I don't see you as the kind of guy who's going to start like pulling a, no offense to him, Jonathan Sharp, where he starts yelling at the guys in the audience for shit posting them. And I'm like, fuck, dude, you can't let the text on the screen get to you. He's like, I just have an anger problem. I'm like, I think they know that. But that's the beauty of it. You've been kicked in the neck. You're like, what are you going to do that neck kick didn't do, sir? You can use mean words.
You're not a threat, keyboard warrior.
Yeah. High stress environments. Like, what else do you got? Come on, work with it. I'm going to dox you. It's like my ex-wife already doxed my family. Don't worry about it. Mighty Zane, greetings from South Florida. The two finals, gentlemen. Dude, I think he's calling us, limp-wristed. Gentlemen? The fuck does that mean?
Savage,
I like chicks,
gentlemen.
bro.
Yeah. Man, that's one of the most common things I see today is the shaming tactics. It's like the number one used weapon by the softies, the soys, the leftists.
Feminine imperative, I believe.
The feminine imperative that's like the number one tool, isn't it? Of the feminine imperative is shame.
It's because it works so damn effectively. Look at how many guys simp for that shit. I mean, if it were, I would use it too.
Is that an effective retort or way to deal with that? Is just call them out. Just be like that's emotional abuse. You're trying to manipulate me. You're trying to shame me and manipulate me onto your side. This is wrong.
See, that's the other thing too. You're trying to appeal to their sense of fair play. I don't think that works either. There was actually a great red-pilled post way back in the day. I can't remember who wrote it. It was like, stop spouting the rules and play the game. And he was mentioning that exact thing you talk about. And he's using an analogy of like a basketball game. Some guy dunks on you, you're like, oh, that's because I did a left step instead of a right. Or, he dribbles past you at the thing. Oh, that's because he did this and I did this. And they're always very good at noticing these things, but you're constantly getting dunked on. So he's like, dude, if you know the fucking rules so well, just play. Stop telling everybody how smart you are by knowing the rules. And I'd agree. Cocky funny, get you through so many of these things. Like, what was that American guy? I think it was Barstool Sports guy. Do you remember the guy who's on the radio said, I like tits and beer? And then CNN got all pissed off at him. And then his response was, what? What's wrong with a guy liking tits and beer? What's wrong with you people? And they got mad. But I mean, they were going to get mad anyway. But at the same time, his brand just blew up after that.
Yeah.
Or Trump. How dare you say this about a politician, sir? I'm going to throw that bitch in jail. Got to be president. That's the lesson you got to take from it. If these people aren't taking things seriously, if they don't believe what they say, why do I have to believe it? You're going to try to.
If they're not a serious person, why should you be?
Exactly. Devil may care.
Why should I take you seriously? Why should I take this conversation seriously? You don't believe in science or biology or reason.
There. Well, what is a woman really, John, when you think about it? Take the simple litmus test. Would I fuck it? Then it's a woman. Actually, check that. let's put that in the maybe category.
Because the robots are, I know they're coming.
They are. Dude, you know how many channels now are given sex doll reviews? And I don't know if they're buying them or if they're being like comped them to do the reviews.
It's like you said, it's the gold rush. It's the incel rush. It wasn't the miners who made all the money during the gold rush. It wasn't the miners. It was a very small amount of miners who made money. It was the restaurants, the hotels, the people selling pickaxes and shovels. Those people got rich.
That's interesting. I wonder now if we're going to tie that to, because it makes sense. Everybody's moving to Miami, trying to appeal to incels. Who's making all the money? Well, whoever's selling real estate for podcast studios in Miami right now. Fuck, I'm in the wrong business, man. To think Miami used to be like, if you had cocaine, that was where you made your money. Now they're like, no. You got to be an Instagram whore, but now you're big here. It's the new cocaine. Oh, you guys got some savage chats. You seeing some of these super chats in here?
They're all coming
Juan
through, aren't
Doe.
they?
What a dick. What would Donovan Sharp do?
Yeah, I put that up. I put that up already.
I'm being playful here, guys. Don't take this as beef. We're not doing red meat. John doesn't play that shit. I just use them as examples because you know what we're talking about. I could bring up Bill from Cincinnati and you guys would be like, who the fuck is he talking about? But I like it. Like you got it. It's hard for other guys though, because you've been in super high stress situations. I can't think of anything more stressful than a world championship in an ass beating competition, you know? Maybe warfare. But even then.
Yeah.
But you kind of had to get there, and you had to have a girl basically run roughshod over your life. So it's at this point, the whole volume is turned down, and and I don't mean this in like a bad way, but you just don't give a fuck. Like you said, I built it before. I'll build it again. I can get another one. I got you. I got this one. I got that one. That one there shouldn't be much harder. I'll figure it out. You grew your beard. Why? Girls don't like guys with beards. You're like, well, that's their problem, not mine. This beard's fucking magnificent. I'd fuck me.
My girl loves it. She loves my long hair and my beard, and she won't let me trim my body hair. It's weird.
Really?
Yeah. She thinks I look like
I don't want you looking like no woman.
Oh, I can't remember his name. Burt Reynolds.
I was gonna say. That's funny because my girl hates this. The hair, she's like, I get it. It's a thing. You need to do. You need to get it out of your system. Just don't talk to me about it. I'll come in asking some shit like, hey, do you have bobby pins? It's like, why do you need those for? Just you have them. Try some shit out.
Can
Like,
I borrow a scrunchie?
Yeah. Well, I'm not there yet. I think I have to draw the line at the scrunchies and the man buns. There's too many fucking assholes on here ruining it for everybody. Like, did you see that there's that podcast now where men are talking to men about being real men, but they all got the man buns and they're talking about feelings? I'm like, dudes, not it, man.
Yeah, I saw something like that. It's the most ridiculous shit ever, dude. Some of these grifters and some of the shit they're saying, and I just can't even. I can't. The worst is like middle-aged single moms running accounts telling women how to like deal in relationships or what to do, what real man does these things. I'm like, you're like,
how do you know?
In your 30s, you got a kid, you're not married. Shut up. Shut up. Just shut up. Like,
Go
you're
raise
not
your
the
kids.
example anybody should be striving towards.
Dude, I laugh at those. I remember Dr. Taylor Burrows. She was the biggest deal for like 15 minutes. And then she put out a video of her crying in her car about how she couldn't find a man. And then she literally described the Rolo thing where in my 20s, I was hot as shit. It was in the Olympics and there was a boy who loved me, but I thought I could do better. And now I'm 42 and by myself. Started crying. And I was like, oh, I should have saved that video. I'd have made an advertisement out of it. It was just the perfect. It was right up there with Pat Stedman and his like, I love women who shower bullshit.
Oh man. Stedman, man, what did he made? So he made a stupid post about something the other day.
Oh, really?
He said something about somebody because they went crazy about he was only tweeting about one thing for a little while. And I was like, it was really tone deaf because I was like, doesn't he still associate with the president of the manosphere? Right? And it's like you're saying you're tweeting out something negative about somebody who's like obsessed about something for a few days online. I'm like,
yeah.
Are you not?
Like I said, it's good for a laugh. How can you take this shit seriously? Like, didn't you get arrested for live streaming committing a federal felony, sir? Well, that was the Illuminati. I'm like, sure it was. The Illuminati collected all that evidence. People, what are you gonna do? Even Kevin Samuels, rest his soul, telling women like you can't just be into thottery and all that shit. And what happened? Took out chick out for a one night stand, got a heart attack, went out like a man.
Went out like a man. That's.
But do you think that girl? Do you think in the
middle? But like the amount of hate that he received from people and the rejoicing of what did he do wrong? He told people the truth.
Well, like, he kind of he goaded them into it.
Still.
Like you yell at a 35-year-old woman long enough, she's going to yell back. I'm not saying he was wrong. He's totally right.
Yeah.
But he's not trying to help the women. He's trying to help men. I'm like, how does yelling at a fucking middle-aged soccer mom helping men? well, lets them know the truth. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they know, or they wouldn't have found it by searching for, yelling at middle-aged soccer moms. Oh, here's the Kevin Samuels channel. It's like they knew. It's performative. And he didn't, and he's like everybody. He doesn't really live the life he was saying. He was sleeping with chicks, having one night stands. Of course. Why wouldn't you? Do you think he honestly told those girls, like, just so you know, you shouldn't do this with anybody else because you're gonna end up, wasted and 35 with 4 kids? Like, no, he was getting his nut.
Well, it's not why is it his responsibility to
Hold women accountable.
Yeah. Why is it why is he supposed to be? Well, it's one thing for them to call in. They're calling into him. They're asking him his opinion on stuff versus, he's going on dates. Like, he's not out there in the wild.
Wait, these chicks called in for this?
He's not on the corner with a sandwich board thing on saying, like, stop being thoughts and lecturing people, with the cowbell or whatever. They're calling in.
They literally called in to get yelled at.
Yes, they literally called in to be scolded and told the truth.
I thought that was a guy only phenomenon.
Well, no, because it's the same thing. They get an emotional women. They get the emotional spike from that.
Yeah.
And then they get attention too from everybody afterwards saying, "Oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just an asshole and you're perfect." So
yeah, it's like
they get a lot of reward out of it.
That's what a lot of guys would do. They would put out their story about how they simped this and they simped that. It was almost like you were talking to your priest, and then you wanted him to tell you to do 3, read Rollo Tomasi, do 3 rosemarys or 3 rosaries, and then you're good. And they're like, oh, I got my absolution from Red Pill Jesus. Thank God, I can go on with my day. But that was like totally
Red Pill Jesus. Is that not anybody's handle yet? Does nobody have that handle yet? Somebody search that. I think
we're gonna have to give it to somebody.
Jesus. There's gotta be.
Maybe the president.
Can that be me now? I don't want to be the Red Pill Jesus.
Please do. We got Red Pill. Actually, yeah, we'll get you and then Hotep Jesus. We could have like the Jesus off.
Jesus off.
My God can beat up your God, and then you guys get together. One of you guys in the chat asking about allergies. Mine are actually pretty good this year. My attacks were last year. Benadryl's fine. The problem is it puts you to sleep. For the most part, you just have to. The best thing to do is about a month before your allergies are going to kick in, you start taking your medication daily. You want to build up like a huge antihistamine like regimen. So then by the time that the season allergies hit, it'll reduce it by a lot. Or find a doctor who will give you those shots. I think you were saying that before, didn't you? You had to get allergy shots or no? Or was that something?
When I was little.
Yeah, apparently those are awesome. But to get those in Canada, it's like trying to get a blood work done. They automatically assume that you want to do steroids and, beat your wife or some shit. And you're like, oh, for fuck's sakes. I don't know if I told you that one. I just wanted a blood test. I'm like, dude, I'm in my late 30s. It's probably good to see what healthy levels are at now so I can test it for later.
They do not want people to actually know anything about their health. They want to own you. They want to own your body, and you have to just do whatever they say. They don't want you to be able to take your own blood and like have it analyzed and then figure out what's going on and how to fix it. It's
That's
crazy.
Just it. I didn't even think anything was wrong. I'm like, I just want a baseline. And she gave me a 30-minute riot act about how steroids shrink your balls, you'll beat your wife, you'll get alcohol problems and back acne, and your hair will fall out. I'm like, what kind of blood test are you trying to give me here, lady?
I just want to see my palate, my blood platelet, and see what's going on, man. Like,
yeah, she was talking to me like I was asking for ivermectin or some shit. Like, come on, man.
You want to hear a funny story though about allergies? So my mom, who's 70 now, this is a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. She has allergies, and she went and got allergy medicine at the local store.
Right.
Came home, left it there, and then went into town to see like some family. So she forgot her Benadryl, whatever. She forgot her allergy medicine. And we're in the Midwest, so it's like 40-minute drive in town to and see family and friends and stuff. And then she's there, and she's like, "Oh, I don't have my medicine." So she went to another store and bought another box of Benadryl. They put her on a watch list.
Wait, what?
They put her on a watch list, a meth watch list.
Holy Jesus!
Because she bought 2 in the same day, and you're like, there's a limit. Like, they track how many you buy in a period of time in like the county or whatever, and they'll put you on a list.
You guys were big on not being like tracked by the government. Wasn't that your guys' thing?
It was supposed to be. But like now we don't, dude. This is not. America is not a capitalistic democracy. It's not. We've been communist for a while. Like with the
Jesus.
bank bailouts and all that shit, like that is not capitalism. We are not a capitalist nation at all.
Fair.
We pay 30 to 50% of our earnings in taxes, and then we have fines, fees, regulations, and extra taxes on all other kinds of shit. We have inflation
Basically sound like Canada.
because they keep printing money all the time and it devalues our currency. So like, I'm sorry, we keep less than 50% of what we work for. They're stealing more than 50% of our labor. That is not capitalism. That is not a democracy. We are in some weird oligarchy / communist state.
The one thing I can say you do that's good though is because no matter how much you guys inflate your currency away, all us other countries that export shit to you, we have to inflate ours even more so we can stay competitive. So we're helping you a little bit. You guys are leading the charge. I don't. That's the only thing that makes any sense with Canada with art, because we had the same thing as you guys. Where like 80% of our money was printed in the last 2 years. I think we had to, because if we didn't, the Canadian dollar would be like $2 American. You guys wouldn't buy anything from us anymore. We go bankrupt immediately. So, if it makes you feel any better, we're all following you off that cliff. So at least you guys are still in charge. I had noticed John's not feeling any better about it. Oh, yeah. Patriot Act didn't kill freedom. Oh, this thing took a turn if we're going to start talking about the
taxation
jet fuel and still being shit.
Talking about building 4 or 3 or whatever.
We got our own problems right now. We're still, I don't know, from our thing, we're still going through like why the War Measures Act was brought up for the truckers. And that's a bit of a shit show. That's our Amber Heard trial. And it's just as ridiculous.
Yeah, that was it's all nonsense. But that's the whole COVID thing, the whole last 2 years. It was all the lack of men being able to say no to shaming. Just do it. You don't want to stay home to stop the spread. You don't want to help all the weak and whatever people. You don't want to do whatever. Like there was a time I feel in our country that the men would have been like, we're not doing that. We don't have any logical reason. There's not enough data to show that that's what should happen. And there could be a lot of negative consequences. I don't think it would have been possible. There's no way they could have shut the economy down the way they did and shut us down and lock us up for 2 years in previous generations. I just don't think so. I think that's a direct response or action from men losing their masculinity, becoming a bunch of pussies.
Memories are short too, right? Because think about it. Your grandfather's age, they were around for the Japanese internment camps and that shit they did with the black people in Chicago in like the 60s there with those riots. So everybody from that generation kind of remembers. They're like, yeah, no, we're not doing that again. But everybody from our generations has no memory of this stuff. And apparently you guys don't teach history at all in the States.
Well, it's all the CRT history or whatever.
Is that really as bad as like it's being portrayed?
I mean, I don't know, but I will tell you this. Like I look over all my kids' stuff. They go to a private Catholic school. And I still have to stop on some of the history stuff and be like, this is not accurate. There was something about, they were doing reports on missions in California, right? Catholic missions. And it asked about, the local Indians or whatever, the natives that were there. Well, like it talked about, all it said about them was like, they were happy and had a wonderful life until the Europeans came in, pretty much. And I was just like, no, these people were at war with each other. They were killing each other. They had human sacrifices, like the absolute horrors that the Spaniards and Europeans walked into watching going on, mass graves, like torturing children to appease the rain gods. Like it was like not,
it wasn't utopia. In other
words.
It
was not utopia. And like, I had to tell them, I was like, this was how things were in Europe and the rest of the world in previous generations too. Like we were savages, like we killed each other. Like we were at war over resources or boogeymen in the sky. Like we have to kill these people because we have to make this boogeyman happy, and like that was everywhere for a long time. There's no such thing as a peaceful savage. Like
Seems like
and we
it's like an
came from
easy thing
that.
to kind of accept too. It's like, is it so hard to accept that people get more civilized as we progress? But I guess so. I guess everybody needs to believe. The ancient Egyptians were peak civilization, and then the Romans came in with their evilness and their money, and they didn't vote Bernie Sanders, and so now we're at where we're at.
Yeah, like the Egyptians didn't enslave people and didn't go to war and didn't kill people and like whatever. Bull.
I'm starting to see now why Mel Gibson made that movie about the Aztecs. That seems like rather based.
Yeah. He was
I'm
like,
still
"Hey
in like,
man,
I
this
still
stuff
believe in
really
this.
happened. This is how it was. Like,
Yeah.
wake up. This is what these people." And it's not saying one group is better than the other. It's just one group had already been through it.
What's the thing? It's history, right? History is not supposed to be picking sides. It's supposed to talk about what happened.
And then we learn about human nature by picking and looking at that and why it happened, because it happened with every group at different times.
Yeah.
You know, people were fighting and warring in Africa. People were fighting and warring in China. Like they had slaves. They did the same shit in different parts of Russia. Like pretty much the same. So like you start to see the similarities in humans and their behavior patterns.
I guess nobody learns this stuff anymore. I think that's why every guy has that phase where he watches the History Channel all day. You know, the one where every guy has to like either learn
I
everything
used
about
to have
ancient
that
Rome or
phase
everything about
until they
World War II.
started. I used to have that phase until they started doing like the alien shows and all these other. They started doing some of these BS. Like what?
Oh, I heard like ghost hunters and shit like that.
Yeah, it was
It seems
whatever.
weird.
It was crazy. There's a super chat here. Any advice for someone trying to leave the USA? I just moved to a software engineering field. Taxes suck in the EU, but I rather live there than the shopping mall those countries turned into.
It's a good question. I actually wouldn't mind. Expatriating to the States has been one of my like long-term goals, possibly. So the easy thing, I've heard you guys with taxes though. So Canada's different. When you expatriate to a country, apparently you guys still owe taxes to America off of the income you earn there.
And the place where you live. Like it costs you. I watched something this guy was talking about. It'll cost you half of how much you've ever made to leave the country and not have to pay taxes anymore. And then you have to find a place that'll let you become a citizen there too.
Yeah. So for Canada, it's the case that I think it's after a certain amount of money. I want to say 100,000, but I could be mistaken. After that, there's potential unless you live outside of the country for more than 181 days a year, like half a year plus a day. Because otherwise, it sounds like what he has to do is you have to essentially renounce your citizenship and then gain citizenship in the new country. And then every country is going to be different. Although Europe, I think if you just float in there on the door, you're pretty much good to go, aren't you? Float in there on a door, stop in, as long as you don't stop in Poland.
Yeah.
You can get citizenship.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you just have to get to Europe, I guess. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about coming into here and I mean, you may be able to come in illegally here. Go to Mexico and walk across the border. They may give you a bunch of money and a bunch of benefits
and some baby food.
Yeah, you'll get some formula. You get some Similac. You'll get a monthly check, right? Free health care.
That's right. Puerto Rico, you can escape that because it's Puerto Rico's a colony still, isn't it? An American colony.
Yeah, it's like yeah. I don't know why we don't just make it another state, but
probably the same reason that we don't make Turks and Caicos a state for Canada or a province for Canada. It's because it's like where you hide your tax money. You go down there for a great quality of living. You hide your money offshore. All the rich people like using those places. But I mean, hey, if it's available, why not, right?
Got another super chat here from Tom saying CRT, SEL, etc. is convo point in USA, but only because it's being exposed by big names. Look it up in Canada, and it's rampant with no resistance.
Well, not no resistance. They had the Ontario's teaching plan for the year come up, and that's the problem. Is that Ontario is such a big province? Everybody assumes that that's Canada. It's not. The West Coast provinces, dude. Alberta is Texas. BC is kind of weirdly socialist, like Portland would be, but for the most part, the West Coast is like ultra conservative about stuff. The East Coast, not so much, except for the Maritimes. But yeah, Ontario's it's like a 50-50 fight on which way it goes. But if you read through the thing, it's a little bit of fear mongering. I think that's why it's getting less resistance here, because once you look into it, the CRT isn't the shit like you were saying. But I think that's Canada's style. Like, let's make it 40% as bad, and then people won't be as angry about it. As opposed to the States where you're like, go retard, go hard, or go home. Teach them that Jefferson was trans, and I don't know what else. I don't even know what's in CRT anymore. That white men are evil, unless you're woke. I don't know. Get a Funko Pop. I finally learned what those are. They're the fucking bobblehead toys. Should get it. Do you have one? Actually, you've got to have an action figure about you. Did they not? Did Dana not do those?
Action figures, yeah.
Do you have them in your house?
Yep.
Did you take them out of the original packaging?
I have some in the original packaging, and I have some that my kids play with.
Fuck, that's awesome. What are you doing? I'm playing with Dad. He's fighting He-Man. Yeah. You got to admit, that's some cool dad shit. They're going to take
it cool, but at the same time, like, I didn't see any money from it. They use my image and likeness to sell it, make money, advertise, but like we didn't. Yeah.
Is
Not
it
really.
like, did you have to sign it off as part of your
2
contract?
cents for every 2 cents of every 100, 2 cents for every 100 of them sold, or some shit. Like, just awful deal. It was an awful deal.
That's fucking like that Tupac hologram shit going on there. Tupac didn't get no money from that.
I
can see why you're pissed.
No, I mean, the UFC has a monopoly and they kind of do what they want.
Imagine if you were a porn star and somebody like took your likeness and put it onto a sex doll without telling you. There'd be fucking blood in the streets.
Yep.
Which a weird analogy to draw about you, by the way. Just so you know, there's no John Fitch sex doll out there that I know of. And if there is and you buy it, I don't want to.
UFC still probably owns my image and likeness, so they could probably do it.
Fuck, he's as evil as Disney.
It's bad. Monopolies are inherently evil. Like, centralized power is evil. It's bad. It's always bad. It's never going to be good. Centralized power is not going to work out for people.
That's the part that gets me, because I remember you were telling me on an earlier show how you're trying to talk to the new guys and the up and comers, like, heads up, this is what's coming down the pipe. Here's what you need to worry about. And they were so
I'll be fine. It's okay. I just want to fight, bro. I just want to fight. And you don't listen.
Yeah. You want to fight now, but what is it? Chuck Liddell, after a couple of concussions, he was like, all right, now I got to start looking into shit. Better hope the Expendables is hiring. Or was he in the Expendables? Oh no, that was Couture.
Couture, yeah. Couture does a lot of side gig acting stuff.
Yeah, Chuck Liddell was on with Donut Operator. Have you heard about this guy? He's actually a neat little, he's like a Twitch streamer, but he does like cop shootings and shit like that. And then for some reason he has like a whole bunch of Chuck Liddell collabs. You would actually like his content. I could see you and him having fun doing a collaboration together. Because like he brings up how police calls go and how shootings go and what the real, basically the same way you talk about fighting is the way he talks about cop stuff. He's next cop. I think he's in Texas now, and he used to be in Oakland or something like that. I could be mistaken.
Okay, sounds interesting.
It's one of those things. We'll see. One of these days, get you on Twitch too. You'll start doing that.
I have a Twitch, John Fitch Twitch. I don't know how to use it though. We're streaming to Twitch right now.
Oh, that's right. It's a weird
I have like multiple platforms that I stream. We're on Rockfin, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch right now.
Okay, the one thing that's awesome about Twitch is that once you got your VOD up there, you can make clips from it. And it has some tools inside the web browser. So let's say on this, you had a banger of a fucking monologue for like 5 minutes. You're like, that would make a great video. You can literally clip it and then upload it as its own clip. And then you have the clip now done without having to do video editing and all that bullshit. So it's kind of a neat little thing you can do there.
I have to,
something you think about. And then take that, throw it on a TikTok.
I think there's so many things and so much to like, yeah.
Well, that's the trick, isn't it?
How do
I get as much done as possible with as little work as possible?
It is. Super chat. I have one of my wife's. It's great. Thanks, Sean. I'm not sure.
Oh, the action figure?
Oh, action figure. Oh, that's nice.
Honey, happy anniversary. What is this? Is this John Fitch? You know it. Don't take it out of the packaging, though. It loses its value. Fuck, now I've got to get like a Rhinestone Funko Pop. I can't be the only guy on Rule Zero without an action figure, for fuck's sakes.
There's I looked into it. There's you can go to Alibaba, and there are manufacturers on there that make action figures. So you could
Really?
we could get a whole cast.
I was gonna say the Rule Zero action set.
$1,000 or $2,000 and have the whole Rule Zero cast in action figure form.
Dude, and like a battleship, like GI. You remember the GI Joe sets where it was like the storm base? Have that. Give ourselves funny GI Joe nomenclatures.
Oh man.
That's Triangle Choke, aka John Fish.
It'll be a giant red pill, and you open it half, and then we're all standing in the red pill.
Yeah, you hit the button and a flagpole shoots up and knocks and sends the Rollo character flying. Dude, you joke. I think if Rollo's selling NFTs now, do you see this one?
Yeah, I saw the lion thingy.
Like, I still don't. I kind of get how NFTs work, but I don't get why they're working. The fact that he's doing it, I'm like pretty impressive. So, like, us making this action figure set isn't the worst idea ever. I'd play with it.
Might not be a bad idea, man. I'll look into it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Dan is right too. A lot of Americans are moving to Mexico, so be aware of Mexico. Yep. They have a lot of like natural citizen law, so like squatters' rights are there. So if you have a summer home and you leave for 6 months, somebody just lives there, they can actually claim it. Also, unless you're a naturalized citizen, you're not allowed to buy anything within, I think, 100 miles of a coast. And so what most people do is they get a local to sponsor their property, but then there can create a whole bunch of legal hassles there. Like the girl and I, we have some property down there, and it's caused a huge legal headache to the point where it's not even worth it. So just be aware if you're planning on going there for the long term, like cover your ass, because they have, you'd never think about it, but like make Mexico great again. They got great protectionist policies against this kind of shit.
Make Mexico great again. No, that's the thing is people don't get it is most every other country is like this is our stuff. Like they're very their country first. You know, they want to take care of their problems first. It's most places. Like America's the only place it's like, no, let's take care of everybody else while our babies are starving and the roads are crumbling and the
typical of Canada. What's America doing? Let's try that out.
It's just it's wild, man. Ayn Rand, she was kind of right about some stuff and altruism.
Is she worth reading? I keep hearing people talk about her, like very polarized, but
I read Anthem, which is a short read, which is kind of good. And then I read the big one, the Atlas Shrugged. Yeah. It's good. It's good. I think it's worth a read, just to see the ideas. And there's a lot of similarities with like things falling apart and, them not allowing businesses to do a good job at business because they're putting restrictions on them. And it's interesting. And it's kind of like the origin of MGTOW, except it wasn't a men's thing. It was like the successful people who produce, the big producers, like escaped to their own private world to like build their,
like Epstein Island.
It's like some secluded place in like Colorado or something like that. And then like the rest of the world's crumbling because the people who actually produce and make things said, screw you guys. We're tired of you putting these restrictions on us. And they went and built their own town for themselves. I
guess I'll have to give it a shot then.
The MGTOW wet dream.
I mean, it's got to be an easier read than fucking Nietzsche. I tried to read Thus Spake Zarathustra, and I got like a third of the way through it. I'm like, why am I doing this?
I got past the part of like the guy on the wire. And that was about as far as I could get. It was difficult reading. It's heavy.
It's like, not even that it's heavy. It's that
the words they use
hard
like
to read.
It's laborious. Like you're putting an effort to like read it. It's like not an easy read. Like not like my brain hurts because the ideas are too big, but because it's just a lot of words to say the same thing.
Mm-hmm. That's why I loved the Iliad. I tried reading the Iliad, and that one is a hard read.
It's really
only
hard.
because it's
I tried
translated
to read it
from ancient Greek. But I'm
Try to
at
read
this
it to my
point.
sons because I wanted them to get some classical, like whatever. It didn't go so well. What I did get, I have like a North mythology book
Mhm.
about all the Thor and Odin and all those stories, like written in a book. Though
Yeah,
that's awesome. I read that to them. It's pretty funny. Like they're good stories.
I can see that being all right.
Yeah. There's one story about Thor, like Thor had to dress up like a woman and get married. And he married married the ice troll, and then like at the wedding killed all the ice trolls. So it's like he like dressed up like a girl, and they're making all these like girl jokes about him being in a dress and shit like that.
And then he murders him.
And they're making,
Such a weird parable.
it's funny. It's a funny read. Like we read that one over and over again.
I can see that
And
being
then
good.
yeah, at the end he kills everybody. Thor like kills all the all the people.
That's good, man. I like that. Sitting there reading with your kids, stuff that's kind of interesting and engaging and doesn't have some weird agenda to it. It's just like a
Mhm.
fun story for your kid to read and learn about the world. I don't think parents do that anymore. I really don't.
They
I mean, my
read
parents
they
never
read the
did. They just gave me
stupid
hooked on phonics and said good luck.
they read terrible books. And then like some of the stuff I try to like I can't stand Harry Potter. I really wish he didn't like Harry Potter, but he loves Harry Potter.
Aw.
And he likes the Diary of the Wimpy Kid stuff. I hate it because it's like it glorifies being like a failure. It glorifies being a nice guy pushover who doesn't like work hard to level up.
Really?
Because those, yeah, in that book, it's like there's no like improvement
Overcoming?
montage. There's no like, oh, I'm gonna buckle down, work hard, and improve myself. There's no moment in those stories at all. It's all just like something just worked out or just happened or it was magic. It's never like we worked hard and we earned it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I get
It
it.
was
It's
all
the
the
same
like,
as
oh, I was just myself and was a nice guy and everything worked out.
what was that fucking the Mockingbird shit? You know what I'm talking about with Katniss? Hunger Games.
Hunger Games, yeah.
Yeah, I watched the first movie and I noticed that right away. It's like, is it amazing that this chick didn't do anything the entire movie and somehow still won at the end and is the hero? Like, don't they have to do shit? She accidentally hit one guy with an arrow. Other than that, everybody else solved all of her problems.
Yeah.
And then the other one at the end, she actually fell asleep for the climax. And then when she woke up, they're like, don't worry, we handled it. They're like, the fuck?
Yeah.
What kind of message is this for people? Just have a nap, sir. It'll be fine. The revolution will be there for you when you get up.
Yeah. Everybody else will do it for you. And I just those things, they just rub me the wrong way. The whole Harry Potter stuff, I can't stand because it's like he never did anything. He was just
Really?
born. He was just born special. That was it. And like, okay, like he didn't study the hardest. He didn't work the hardest. You know, like he got
This
on
is
he did the Quidditch thing. Like the first day he gets on, he's like catch the ball. He like did the most hardest thing. Like
really.
what work did he do? Like he didn't like train hard to do something. He just was born that way. And I think it's just such a feminine like outlook on life and being able to do anything. I think you have to be a woman to think that's how somebody becomes successful. Oh,
Yeah,
well, he
I'm
just
kind of
showed
glad now.
up.
I've never
He's
I've
a
never
man. He just
watched or
showed
read
up.
anything from Harry Potter, so you're teaching me
Yeah.
all this stuff new. I don't even
Yeah.
know what Quidditch is. I assumed it was a sport.
Yeah. They rode a broom and catch balls. Like, yeah.
Tell me about it.
But like there's no like, oh, I suck at this. I don't know how to ride a broom. You know, I'm gonna train hard and there's a training montage and then he's good at it. No, it's just like, oh, whoops, 2 minutes, I figured it out. Now I'm the best whoever did it.
Dude, I don't know.
It's similar to the Star Wars.
Oh, the new one with the Ray chick? Yeah.
Yeah. So like she's just born and she's already the most powerful ever. She didn't
Which
have
is
to train
ridiculous.
hard. She didn't have to like go through any adversity.
Even learn how to do the power just came to her. It's just lazy. That's the problem too, is like
It's yeah.
it's not just that the characters are lazy and don't do anything, it's that the writing is lazy, the medium is lazy, the professionalism around making the movie is lazy. Just throw some CGI at it, whatever. And I just realized, I wonder if that's the lesson that people are getting from it now. Like the medium is the message, not so much. I just want to be like Harry Potter. It's that, oh, the director didn't give a shit and the writers didn't give a shit. Well, then why give a shit? The one guy who does give a shit ends up getting fired because he's not diverse enough. And like, you're just encouraging guys just to give up on any type of accomplishment. And It sucks for a kid because then you have nobody to look up to. I mean, your kid's lucky. They got you. Most kids don't have you as a dad. In fact, I'd argue almost all kids don't have you as a dad to do that. Maybe some of these dads in here are pretty good too, but a lot aren't. The fuck are they going to do? They're going to join that group of incels that they're going to appeal to with wham and ain't shit videos later on. Speaking of videos that require the guy to do fuck all and come out the hero.
Oh man. All right. Well, hey, we've been on hour and a half here.
Yeah.
You want to wrap it up?
Let's do that.
What do you got going on? I'll give it to you.
You know what? I know they're doing, isn't it the masculine excellence shit going on right now? I am not doing any of that shit. Honestly, it's just finish working on second book, getting these videos out on the main channel about the relationship stuff. It's got a roadmap, and then just doing the second channel. It's Digital Ryan. It's much more casual. We got like collaborations with a bunch of the guys that you may recognize from the Spear. We're playing like Project Zomboid and Minecraft. We're talking about guy stuff. I don't think we need to make something the alpha male war room of excellence in order to make it enjoyable for guys, you know? So just come check it out. And if you like it, stick around. And if you don't, just try not to shut up the chat. That's all I ask. That's it for me.
Yeah, one more super chat here. Saying Rolo says, demonstrate, do not explicate. How do you get a woman to play ball without having to dump them every time they misstep?
You want to take this one?
Attention is your greatest weapon with the woman. I wouldn't say weapon, tool. It's not choose violence today. It's your best tool. Okay. If she's acting out of line, you withdraw your attention. You don't engage, and we call it icing her. We ice, or if the relationship's fairly new or you're just starting to talk, it's called a soft next, right? Like a soft next means like you're not going to reach out to her again. She's going to have to come after you, chase you down, or you ice her. You just withdraw. She starts acting a little bit out of pocket. You don't respond. Give it a day. Say, I'm busy. I'll call you tomorrow morning, and make her wait a day. No contact.
Yeah. And then she starts realizing when she acts certain ways, you're more attentive, and she acts other ways and you're not attentive. And they kind of figure out if they want John Fitch in their life, maybe don't do this shit that he just kind of ghosts me for.
Mm-hmm.
But she doesn't have to. She can leave.
Yeah.
They never do. She didn't leave you. She's still thinking about that steak you made her, and it's been 6 months. God, that was a good steak. I remember it like it was yesterday.
All right. And then for me, I'm working on 3 programs right now. Fitch Smash Strength. I'll show you guys how I stay jacked. I've been lifting the same way since 2013. I've won world titles doing stuff this way. Okay. I've gotten super hot, awesome girlfriend because I use this system. I have a couple fight programs coming out too. One is jiu-jitsu, wrestling for jiu-jitsu. So I did a seminar in a gi and showed them some tricks around wrestling better, because although jiu-jitsu matches start on your feet and you don't always want to just pull guard. And then I also have a no-gi seminar that I taught. I taught some more wrestling there and a little bit of top control. We taught some of the smash stuff you see Khabib using often. It's in that. So editing those things, hope to have them up in the next month. Hopefully it doesn't take that long for me to do it. And then I'll let you guys know. That's it for me. But all right. It's a good show.
The ending phrase. Love you guys. Talk to you later.
Yeah. Thanks for stepping in.